stupid.
I don't believe you.
Because you're dumb. How would you know? You're in this coffin every day, Count Dumbula. You were on the street right now and you were talking like that, I would have f***ed you up. But I'm not going to do that. Nah, I wouldn't have got beat up. I could, and you wouldn't do anything.
And we gonna fight.
I just finished watching the Dame Dash interview at the Breakfast Club, and I can finally get all of my thoughts off after watching a small clip. I was like, you know what? This thing has been blowing up, and I wanted to make sure that I got the full context before I actually give you guys my opinion on the matter. So I will say this. I think that Charlamagne is very, very petty. And I would agree with him when he said that I don't think that he's the best representation for black men. Like when you start thinking about, having what he called an OG, what I would call like a mentor, a coach, even if you didn't have that father figure growing up, a lot of guys honestly need that. And again, I don't think that him nor DJ Envy is a great representation of, how you should be moving as a masculine black male that's wanting to be, a leader. A lot of stuff that they say on the internet or on radio, I can't honestly agree with. Now, on the other hand, do I believe that Dame Dash displayed, the proper way to handle certain situations as a masculine man? Absolutely not. I think that he started off pretty decent, which is establishing some ground rules. Allow me to speak, and the only reason why I would maybe raise my voice a little bit is because, he said that was a trigger for him, which, I don't think that you should have to raise your voice at all. Listen, we established ground rules, and as long as we are doing the interview, I would appreciate if, you guys would just respect that. Now, going into the interview and listening to the back and forth from two grown men, one talking about being broke, the other one, questioning another person's masculinity. Again, I don't think and I don't believe that real men operate like this. Now, what Dame Dash was saying is actually facts. Great businessmen, they don't own or they don't have their name in anything. They control. They don't own anything, but they control everything. That's through, an LLC, that's through an S corp, whatever. Like there are a lot of different ways that you can control things without it actually being in your name. So I respect it. He said, listen, you can call me broke all day. And from my mentors, my coaches, like the people that I listen to and I speak with on a daily freaking basis, most of what that guy was saying about business is freaking facts. At the end of the day, I want to make sure that my family is taken care of and I have the results of a guy that is, doing very, very well for himself, right? Outside of the bankruptcies, because, I think those things are a little bit questionable. You know what I mean? Charlamagne said something about Donald Trump. Listen, you can say whatever it is you want to say about somebody, but when you start talking about, how this person does when it comes to business, I always go back to results. Regardless of what happened, you know what I mean? Where is this person at today? Is this person not right now a millionaire or a billionaire? Again, I don't necessarily agree with, the bankruptcy thing, but I've never been a billionaire, haven't quite made it to being a millionaire. So, there are different ways that you go about doing things, because Uncle Sam, them taxes, all of those things, like these guys, you got to think about it. They have plenty of businesses, and so they might have somebody that's in control of doing their tax. I do my own taxes, but they might have somebody that's in control of doing, their own taxes. Maybe, pulling the strings in other directions, because they got so much going on, and they're hiring people that are supposed to take care of these things. And maybe, for whatever reason, they didn't vet those people correctly. And those people, instead of spending that money on paying those taxes, they using it for their own personal gain, or they take it and they run off. Now, are these people considered bad business people because they trusted somebody else with their money? That's up to you guys to decide. But at the end of the day, I always go back to results. Where are these people now? Now, Dame Dash was being a little bit petty by saying, how many houses he has, what's his view like, and stuff like that. Again, I would never agree to any type of back and forth stuff like that, because yes, that is extremely freaking petty. And what I will say is, I have to commend Dame Dash for giving what he called his OG a platform to be able to speak on. I'm not really familiar with the guy. I didn't get the opportunity to check him out and see, if he's like a big name, anywhere outside of that. But I mean, he's well known, obviously, in Harlem. If he's bringing out what Dame Dash said, allegedly, 5,000 people, and shout out to him for sticking by his wife's side, man. And I definitely commend that brother for that, him and Dame Dash, for holding other people, holding other men accountable. What Dame Dash said, he was going in the inside of schools and stuff like that, and his OG checks him, and he said, listen, it's better that you have somebody around you, which I agree with, that can possibly kick your tail, because a lot of men need that growing up. A lot of guys honestly need that kick in the butt, that smack in the back of the head, not literally, but a lot of guys honestly need that. And it's good that he does have that. I would say that he probably should have stopped that dog going bigger. But you grown, man. There's no reason in the world why you should be going back and forth about anybody, about their pockets or about their masculinity. Whatever you got going on over there, brother, is what you got going on over there. Whatever you do in the comfort of I ain't got nothing to do with that. I know I'm good, and I always go back to results. What results do you have? And if your family is taken care of, you're a family man, if that's what the drive and the goal was, that those are the results that you have, and your children are good, where to the point where their entire college is taken care of. They got 2 and 3 houses, allegedly what he said. Man, listen, you can't argue with that. He started a business with $8 million. Now it's worth $100 million, and his exes, are taken care of. If all of these things are true, then there is absolutely nothing you can say. Now, I know he was kind of giving Charlamagne and DJ Envy a little slack about, waking up and doing the same things over and over again. Listen, different people have different passions in life. And who's to say these people don't actually love and enjoy what they do? As a man, I'm not going to question it. If that's something that you love to do, that you enjoy doing, then you continue to do that, because you can do radio for the next 50, 60 years. Only thing you're doing is going on there and talking. But you have to be careful about what you say and how you say things. And I will say this, Charlamagne has a issue. He has a problem with doing stuff like that. And it's honestly just tasteful. I don't know about, you guys, but it's really just tasteful when somebody spits something out, and say something, and then try to ask a question. No, man, you done already put that out there. That's not cool. I appreciate Lauren LaRosa, because she comes in with facts, and to back those things up, she actually has sources. Listen, I did some actual research, and I heard this from such and such, and and actually giving people the opportunity to clear those things up and speak. I appreciate people like Lauren LaRosa. You know what I mean? Again, I think that Charlamagne has a habit of doing stuff like that. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it, man, for the most part. You know what I mean? I do appreciate him, again, for Dame Dash, for giving his OG the opportunity to come on there, speak, and really level everything, because that's what that's what leaders do. They come in, they don't have to be loud, They don't have to be, you know, doing the most. They don't have to scream. They don't have to threaten you. They can speak in a stern tone so that you know and you understand that, listen, I mean business. I'm not coming here for all of that rah-rah stuff. And completely leveled everything. And then Charlamagne and Dame Dash got back on there being petty again, man. It was unfortunate, but that segment, if you guys haven't got the opportunity yet to check out that interview, I highly encourage you to check it out and really pay attention to Dame Dash OG, because I honestly believe that he is definitely a better representation of how it is that you're supposed to be moving as a masculine man, as a leader. But I would love to hear from y'all, man. What are y'all thoughts on all of this mess that's going on right now with, you know, Charlamagne, DJ Envy, Dame Dash? This thing is echoing all across the internet right now. Everybody got, you know, their own take in it. I think that all three of them honestly need to stop acting like petty, feminine, and I'm not saying that's, you know, a woman, but feminine people. They need to do better. Y'all drop it down in the comments below and let's talk about it. All right, until the next time, y'all be blessed, y'all be beautiful, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.
Blueberry, Burberry, button-up, tan skin, mixed race, buttercup, Canada weather, got a bundle up. I'm tryna work, she hit my phone, she wanna, whoa.